The small problem with lighting these days is it's just too much work. The headlights are too expensive. All these variables that go into it. So now you've simplified a solution that you can make some profit on without having to do all this extra labor and worry about damaging something. And it takes you in another category, another profit center that you didn't have before.
The fleet world, you're going to see that construction guy, the landscape, the roadside, the individuals that are driving a truck every day, using it for their personal use. Their kids are in the back seat. They don't want to have lights coming down from a headliner. They don't want to. A lot of HOAs don't allow for commercial vehicles.
We got DRLs, we got low beam, high beam, brakes, blinkers, reverse lights, tag lights. That's pretty much what we can get most of the time. Some of the stuff on super big trucks, like heavy duty 3500 trucks, there's like extra lights over the wheel wells. We can get those most of the time. It really depends upon whether that light is attached to another light or it's on the CAN bus at all. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it's directly controlled from the switch.
So little tweaks like that, but the boys are always a phone call away to make magic happen. And that's always been really good. We've had vehicles go to the dealership over and over and over again. No issues, no voiding warranty. I think that's the biggest thing you guys push on, that we're not going through and altering anything for the vehicle.
Well, I mean, when you have the truck that's got a huge lift on it, and it's on the big tires, it's got the rock lights and the wheel wells, and they're cruising by the through the mall parking lot because that's the only off-road they do. You throw in a ZWAGZ, now you have even more lights and it draws more attention, and people are going to go, "Oh, look!"
Right.
So
yeah,
For sure.
cool.
And a little tech thing for all the newbies out there. If it doesn't work, it's because you don't have your ground connected, right, Brennan? That's always whenever I call, it's like, the car won't start. He said, "Is your ground hooked up?"
Yeah.
And that's always that's when I was slapping my guy upside the head and say, "Seriously, bro?
Yeah.
Forgot the ground?"
And we're back, episode 3. We're talking ZWAGZ, Emergency Lighting Solutions. We got some special guests today. We have Justin, we got Ali, we got Brendan. It's gonna be great. Stay tuned. So we're back, episode 3, Insiders Podcast, talking about ZWAGZ. I'm here with my friend Justin. Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Justin Martin. I am the Eastern Regional Sales Manager for ZZ2. So I facilitate the majority of the sales on the East Coast, dealing with our direct dealers and also managing the rep firms we have out in the field.
How long you been in the industry, man?
Oh boy, I started in 1995 with Circuit City back in the day, actually installing. And then I got into wholesale distribution around 2000 and have been either a independent manufacturer's rep or working for a wholesale distributor or manufacturer ever since. So it's we're over 30 years, or about 30 years now.
And what brought you to ZZ2?
A lot of changes in the marketplace happened, and so it's kind of a funny story. While I was still an independent rep, at one of the Knowledge Fest shows, I ran into Tiago. I saw the booth there. This is, I think, the last time they had it in Orlando, and approached him about if ZZ2 was looking for reps, because I thought the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay integration was kind of a unique category that we could use. And at the time, they didn't need anybody. And then fast forward a few years later, and I found myself in the need of a position because the company I had previously worked for went out of business due to mismanagement, and ended up landing here, and it's been going great ever since.
Yeah.
At least I think so.
And then tell me a little bit about ZWAGZ. I know that we have different categories in ZZ2. We have our CarPlay, Android Auto kits integration kits that we have. But ZWAGZ it's almost like its own thing, right?
Yeah, so you got to wonder, okay, how do you go from doing Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration to doing emergency lighting in vehicles. How does that come about? Because they don't seem related at all.
Yeah.
And it's almost by accident. So we were approached by a customer that wanted to see if we thought we could make this product.
Yeah.
So we kind of shrugged our shoulders, went, we'll see. And within a few months, we had working prototypes and hit the ground running. And it's just been an upward category ever since. And we've expanded the amount of applications we can cover, and we've got more coming.
Right.
And it's been a great area of growth for the company, and dealers love it. As a good base solution to provide security lighting and safety lighting for construction vehicles and all sorts of other types of scenarios, whether it's security, funeral homes,
Right.
all sorts of applications you can think of. As a good base solution for an easy install that you can then expand upon later, it's proven to be a great product.
And I guess like in sales, when you're talking to dealers and installers about our CarPlay integration kits and Android Auto as well, how do you then kind of tell them about ZWAGZ and what makes you say, by the way, right?
Yeah, just about every car audio shop that's been out there at some point or another has had that customer. The guy either works in construction, owns a construction company, landscaping company, something to that effect, and has more than one vehicle.
Right.
And that's generally where you're like, hey, you take this opportunity. You got somebody who walks in, they're looking to upgrade their very nice, very expensive truck because they're the foreman or the owner of the company or whatever it may be. And that's when you take that opportunity and go, hey, I've got this other thing. And you use that as a way to try to get into their other vehicles and expand your sales from there. Just that's how I tell the dealers to approach it from a retail standpoint. When you have that customer in front of you,
Got it.
You got to look for those little opportunities to expand what you're offering. I mean, okay, they maybe came in for a light little audio system, maybe some step bars. It depends on what it is, but they come in for something for their truck, and now you've got another opportunity to add something else that might end up landing you multiple vehicles if they have a fleet of vehicles, or if they have friends or coworkers that might be interested.
What's great is that we have a guest today that we're going to bring in just a moment that will be able to speak highly on that and in his personal kind of take on ZWAGZ. Stay tuned.
So for us, it's really big to be in tune with companies that are leading edge for technology. And that's where the relationship with ZZ2 really came in, because we almost have a strategic partnership together. That's the great thing about the ZWAGZ, is compatibility is never an issue.
And we're back. And so now we're going to go ahead and bring in our special guest today. We have Ali from HG2. How you doing, Ali?
Good. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, and just go ahead and just give us a little bit of insight.
So very good. My name is Ali Bhojani with HG2 Emergency Lighting. You guys have known me for way too many years, but for the public out there. So my company actually manufactures emergency lighting and all vehicle applications for law enforcement, fire, public safety, construction, landscape, all sorts of different vehicles. And that's what we specialize in. We have multiple vehicle locations that do installs, and we also have dealers throughout the network to supply them equipment.
Okay.
So for us, it's really big to be in tune with companies that are leading edge for technology. And that's where the relationship with ZZ2 really came in, because we almost have a strategic partnership together to make sure we're in tone and working together. To
and how'd you guys meet? How did it all come together? Like, where did you find ZZ2, or did you find HG?
It's kind of a roundabout story. So I've had some dealings with Ali and his sister companies or other divisions for many years now at this point. And in past lives, I've had working in either distribution or as a rep. And so HG2 started off, from what I understand, so originally it was a 12-volt shop that was, doing your standard car stereo stuff and all that. And you guys saw an opportunity and decided to make your own brand of lighting and get into this. So tell me how you guys saw the potential for that market as a growth area for you.
That's exactly it. So yes, Justin and I have been really doing business for years and years and years. Not since 1995, because I was only 4 years old then. So
don't rub it in.
Hey, we got to make magic happen. But of course, through past relationships, and we did start in the car audio world, the 12-volt world. That's where the foundation was laid. And very successful car audio stores are still open today.
Yeah.
And as we were going through and seeing, the market shifted. And we started off with a company named Hocklow Neon and Accessories. That was during the Fast and Furious times, with all the underbody neons, with the LEDs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we invented a wheel light that went behind the rim. You see it today on the pickup trucks. That's our patent, our invention.
Oh, that's your guys?
Yes.
Yeah, get out. That's cool.
So, and that's the beautiful thing. And from there, we went to a strip light that went under the vehicles. We call it the running board light. So obviously, with all this technology we had back in the early 2000s, the recession came. People weren't spending money. Justin knows this. They weren't spending money on wheel lights. They weren't spending money on underglow lights. They were barely, the cars were getting repoed. The industry changed. You went from big time projects to all of a sudden people were saying, you can keep the car. We're good. We don't even need it. The bank's coming to pick it up. Sorry. And it was a tough time.
Yeah.
So our leadership, our owners, they said, hey, instead of going through and taking our technology and throwing it in the trash, filing bankruptcy, let's go and shift the need. And a lot of our customers were in the law enforcement background. They were in the public safety divisions. And that's where the shift came. They said, hey, if you make that light for a law enforcement car, we don't have this. And it, boom, light bulb went off. And from there, we went and expanded, jumped into this crazy industry. And of course, we have a relationship with the ZZ2 guys from previous history, of course. And I have a little conspiracy theory that they've always been watching us from way back when. That's why ZZ2, HG2, you guys have copied our black and yellow colors. So if we go back in time, we know what time it is. We have, but that's where we all kind of work together. The world is really small.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so pure. When we all kind of come together and we're sitting down having drinks and whatever we're doing, sitting down for our coffee, we come back and talk about our old times and where we started, how we did it.
Right.
But that's where it is. The world's too small, but with strategic partnerships like this, we can kind of
look how long of a relationship that has happened, and you have to grow from somewhere, and then it starts to build, and then you have a quality product. And that's what we try to look out for, right? I mean, we're always trying to make sure that we create something that has legs. Ali.
Yes.
Where are you from, man?
East Africa.
East Africa, huh?
Yeah, Tanzania.
Nice. Grew up there, or?
No, I was actually born in Orlando.
Okay.
But the family's from East Africa,
Nice.
wife's from East Africa, and my kids claim they're from there too. They were born in Pepper Pines.
Don't we all, right?
Right.
You want to rep?
Excitement. Got to get some excitement.
And then how long have you been with HG2?
We're coming up on, that is 16 years.
Wow.
Yep.
And how long has HG2 been around?
Right around 16 years.
Okay.
I was there right at the foundation, that transition.
Very cool.
So 16 or 17 years.
I went to the website. I saw a photo of, on the About Us. There was like a mom there.
Yep.
What's that all about?
So the family. So I'm actually not related. People think I am. I've been with the family for 16 years. But the family is actually 7 brothers and sisters, and they came from nothing. I know Justin knows more about that, but in the early 70s and 80s, immigrants come into this country, single mother, 7 children, in a small town called Sanford that we all know. And they kind of took from the flea market, from little items from there, hustled every little detail from A to Z, with mama being that foundation every step of the way. And I think that's what that picture kind of brings that perspective out there. If you zoom in on the pictures, everyone that knows the family, everybody's face, when you look at those individuals, it tells you their personality. You can go through, and we go based off that foundation of a family effort, and that's where it comes down to the ZZ2 family too.
Right.
Because together, we're all organic, together as one family, and you can go through any combat, any trial, any tribulation. As a family, you can do that, and that's what we strive on.
Yeah, I saw that, and it you bring it down to that core, and then you really know what a company's really made of, and then sometimes that just shows that instead of being so corporate and square, there is some sort of conversations that you could have with another person, and even it could even be a competitor too. Like, you know, you guys could feed off each other because this world is so big. And like when you mentioned that, I was like, that's my guy. I like that, you know, because that it just shows that we can have businesses together and help each other out and make sure that we're helping. Like, there might be a solution that ZZ2 might not have, but maybe we could direct you to the right person and vice versa. You know, maybe like you guys see something that are like, hey guys, what about this? I just saw this from here. And then we have these open conversations, because if we don't have these conversations, then we can't grow. We're just so stagnant in this square box where we have to open up. And that's what I like about ZZ2. That's why I'm here. You know, I love this whole, you know, bringing this together. This is those conversations you want to have. And like you mentioned today, you were like, this is where it's going, right? Like this is where I think the industry should go. Why not have these conversations instead of being behind a garage door and that's it? No one sees you. You know, let's talk about those things, and let's also talk about those pain points too, because you know you have to go through those in order to succeed. When was the first time you first grabbed a ZWAGZ unit, right, and installed it? What was that first experience like? And then how did you put that into your whole catalog of products? Because how many SKUs do you have?
Our catalog goes 40, 50 pages deep.
Yeah.
And it's really tough because like Justin was, and I think the first time we did business with ZZ2 is when Justin picked up the phone, because we had a relationship. And Justin calls and says, hey, I got something that's going to really do great for you guys, and I think it's going to be something that's really good, it's right up your alley. Just trust me. What kind of truck do you have in your garage right now? And I said, I'm looking at a Ford F-150. He says, great. You're going to see it in the morning. And I said, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to see. And I got this beautiful box with a harness. And it was a little overwhelming at first, but I saw all the harnesses and all this stuff. I said, what the heck is this thing?
Yeah.
And then as I went through, I said, oh, my God, this is very straightforward. I don't need a skilled technician to put this in. And that's the biggest problem I think Justin sees in the industry, from the 12-volt industry. 12-volt technicians aren't like they used to be.
Not at all.
You do not have those guys. You don't have those old school technicians that can go and solve all these problems.
Yeah.
And even some of those old school guys, we don't want to hate on them, but a lot of them can't even interact with anything CAN bus related. Steering wheel controls, that's a horrible topic that we don't want to talk about. But a lot of car audio guys that have been around for 20 years cannot program a steering wheel control for their life as soon as this CAN bus came out.
It is actually a quite funny point that, yeah, you've got these old school problem solvers that had to do things. They had to test every wire back in the day. Yep. There was no roadmap. I was talking about with Steve downstairs this morning about this. When we were talking about a BMW screen, that we're going to have to, in certain years, we're going to have somebody pull the screen out to take a look at the pin configuration. And we all kind of laughed, going, oh, nobody's going to want to do that. And I'm like, no. When I started installing, there was no roadmap or source where I could find out what the exact speaker size was of certain vehicles. I had to take the door panel off and then hope that we closed the sale. And so that's what we used to have to do, but then the old school mentality stopped evolving to new technology, and then you've got the newer school that is all about technology and flashing modules and doing that. They don't know how to go back and problem solve some of these issues, and that's also kind of where our tech and our accessibility comes into play, because in those situations we can be that outside party that's not frustrated, not flustered, and go, well, like, here, just try doing this. and possibly solve the problem. And then like the ZWAGZ is just one of those problems one of those products that takes away a lot of the problems because it's just so plug and play.
It does, and it's error free. So I don't have to worry about it being plugged in and having an airbag light on.
Yeah,
I don't have to worry about error codes. I don't have to worry about a car getting anything. So since we've had it, we don't have to go and pull out our Matco scanner.
So talk to us a little bit about how you've used ZWAGZ in some of your customers and dealers and installers, and just tell us a little bit about like what you see and why of ZWAGZ. Like why ZWAGZ? Why choose ZWAGZ over someone else?
Absolutely. So if we go back in history, in the public safety world, in construction, you always took your truck, you went to that shop, the shop pulled off your headlight and drilled a 1-inch hole and put a strobe light in it. Now the industry has changed because these headlights went from a $200 headlight, a $100 headlight with all these just very simple structure. Right. Now you're at a headlight on my GMC truck outside is $2,000. There is no way in hell I'm putting a hole in that headlight. So that's where the OEM integration of ZWAGZ comes in, because now I don't have to drill a hole. I don't have to worry about voiding a warranty from a vehicle.
Right.
And that's where it really changed, because everything went LED. We went from halogen housings with lots of space to LED that you can barely fit a pencil in any of those spots. There's so much technology.
Talk to me a little bit about visibility and the safety of it all. I mean, what now that we have it installed, now what? Right.
So that's it. So as we know, we're all driving every single day, and we're all paying attention to what's in front of us. And we always see that roadside construction guys. Those guys are working day in and day night, and the people that are on the streets aren't paying attention. And a lot of times, landscaping companies and those, they feel like they don't have the budget. There's never been a need for them. But that public safety aspect of that visibility on that side of the road is really huge.
Yeah.
Now you guys have taken a whole vehicle that have these massive taillights, brake lights, reverse lights, so many different applications, and now with a flip of a switch, your whole car goes from completely undercover to a visible spaceship from the side of the road.
Yeah.
But you're utilizing stuff that's from the factory, not having to go through. We know how it is with new vehicles nowadays. As soon as it goes to the dealership with some recall, something, that's where ZZ2s come in, because you're not voiding a warranty.
Yeah.
You're not going into things, but you're getting that visibility for the end user, and it's really that safety aspect.
It was something you mentioned was like when the landscapers and guys like that. I have a good friend of mine. He has a landscaping business called Mumo, by the way, Mumo Landscaping in Coral Springs. His truck doesn't have any of that, and they sometimes slap a small little kind of like a little blinking thing right in front, and it just doesn't. You don't see it. And we live in a neighborhood where there's a blind spot there, and you take that corner, there's always landscapers there, but you take that corner, you don't see it, you don't see it flashing from before, then it's dangerous. So what you said, budget friendly, is huge. Because, can you tell me a little bit about your experience with, since you're in this lighting industry, what the cost is for something like a general install, regular install, like the old school install versus ZZ2's install? Well, it's budget-wise, I'm saying.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the timing. When you're doing a traditional install, you're having to mount lights in a specific location. A lot of times, if you're doing it the right way, you're removing a bumper, you're removing a grill, you're removing headlights and taillights, you're basically disassembling a whole vehicle. And now you're taking wires to follow all the factory wiring locations. So to do it right, it's really your time. You're going and spending, if a construction vehicle comes in and they want a 4-piece strobe light kit, I need the vehicle down for hours, which is hours that truck isn't in service, which is hours that they're not making any money. Whereas if I'm using a ZWAGZ module, I'm good to go. I can have them out of there in a span of 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And that really is a great selling point for them, because it gives that customer, at the end of the day, when that truck's out of service, that truck's not making money.
Yeah. And not only for one truck, but for 2 or 3 or 4 trucks. If you think about it, something that you would spend on one truck, you could probably take care of in 2 or 3. Is that a true statement? Or 3 or 4?
3 or 4 easily inside that span. Because when you take the time, like Ali's saying, to remove a bumper, run all these wires the length of the vehicle, and then connect everything at the point if there's a controller or whatever. That's 4 to 6 hours, and you could do 4 or 5 vehicles. If 2 people could do 4 or 5 vehicles inside an hour.
Yeah.
Really.
let's talk about compatibility.
Yep.
What kind of trucks or vehicles are you seeing mostly? Like, what are the most popular? And then obviously we have solutions for a lot of different ones, but what do you see when coming through your garage or through your?
It's a battle. I got to be careful because the Ford and Chevy and the Dodge. We got to be careful how we talk about that. We're all in the industry. We don't need any targets on our back. But of course, you're going to your fleet trucks or your Ford F-150s, your Dodge Rams, your Chevy Silverados. Now you're going and seeing a lot of the GMC fleet models as well. You're seeing, and I think nowadays, just a customer yesterday was talking about a truck, and we said, hey, normally he would be in the thing of someone said, why don't you get that Ford Ranger? It's really beautiful. And he says, hey, I could, great, but he says, I want a real truck. If I'm going to get a truck, I'm going to get a real truck. And I think the market has changed because now everybody wants that high-end truck where they can work into it, where they can go through and have all those features. Everybody wants that massage seat while they're doing those long-haul driving.
Right.
But so you're seeing vehicles from A to Z. You're seeing trim level XL F-150s, and you're seeing Raptor Rs. So it really depends on where the customer is. That's the great thing about the ZWAGZ is compatibility is never an issue. Yeah. And if it is, hey, we pick up the phone. We'll talk to Brendan later. But I'm a big pain in the butt with him making sure compatibility.
Well, listen, that's a great segue to Brendan. So, Brendan, tell us a little bit about your talks with people like Ali when you're on the phone talking to them and they're like, hey, look, we have this kind of vehicle, this kind of truck. Do we have a solution for that? What does ZZ2 do in those instances?
Well, we support everybody as much as possible. Obviously, we don't have, we can't. It's very difficult to get in every single truck. Ali's been helpful there. He's helping us out, get us into some of the vehicles that we can't access easily. We have most of the lineup at this point, other than maybe brand new Ram, which is coming soon, covered. Even EV vehicles for these flasher modules. I think that this relationship is good and it's growing. It's going to get better, I think.
Tell us a little bit about the EV vehicles. I know we just launched a new ZW.
Yeah, we have a new version of the GMLC called the ZW GMLC-EV. Works in Sierra and Silverado EV, brand new vehicles, and the 25 and up, basically gas and diesel trucks. So just released a few weeks back. We have some relationships with dealerships that have cars and trucks to be able to jump in and do the nitty-gritty development work. Once we validate a couple vehicles, we try to get as many vehicles as possible and validate all of them, as many as we can. If someone has a problem in the field, then sometimes we'll try to get the truck in and try to recreate the issue and address it. We run a checklist on every single vehicle we touch at all. We have a same checklist we run just to make sure, because sometimes we'll find a bug that's you never would have otherwise found if we didn't go through everything every time. So constantly trying to improve on the software so that there's no hiccups or questions on any trim level of any truck. So development is a constant thing here at this company.
Yeah, so that's a plus of having ZZ2, right? We're right here, a phone call away. We have engineers, we got our sales team, our customer support. Tell us a little bit about that and what your experience is with ZZ2 when you have to get on the phone with them.
Oh, the greatest thing is the after-hour support. So when you're going through, and as most car audio shops know, like most technicians know, hey, that customer sometimes has a deadline that's after 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And when you pick up that phone, and 99% of companies in the industry stop answering at 4:55, and you're by yourself from 5 to 9 p.m., you're in trouble. That's the beautiful thing about ZZ2, because you pick up that phone, and there is tech support till, I don't quote me on it, but I know I've used it till at least 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern, and really seen that helpful.
What are the hours, Justin or Brendan?
To 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern is we will answer.
We got someone ready to go to 8 p.m. Eastern if you have issues at all.
That's a great thing to have, don't you think, guys? I mean, to have that kind of support all the way up until 8 o'clock. I mean, because there's dealers and installers that are still in the garage just doing their install.
Yeah, and West Coast.
And
sure.
Listen, they're stuck, and now they have a question, and maybe it's a quick answer, but they want somebody to talk to. And
I think the best part is that I'm close enough that you guys invite me over for coffee, and you guys commandeer my truck, and then you guys send me home an Uber and say, hey, we'll get you your truck back when we're ready. So I think that relationship is also great because you're able to go through and have the hands-on experience. Yeah. We're working on a couple undercover projects that we can't talk about on live air, obviously. But we have that relationship that you can go through and say, hey, you have experienced individuals. And when we cross our engineers, it's like you go through and be like, oh my God, this is a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
But it's really that support to go and say, hey, I want this. Can we do this? And like Justin said, sometimes you just shrug your shoulders and say, sure. Hey, let's try it.
We'll try. Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I think was the fearless behavior between both of us to kind of make that magic happen.
What we have here is a front end of a Tahoe, I believe it is, like right around 22 area. The front end of these are fairly similar in most of the Chevy pickup trucks and SUVs and the heavy duties. But what you're seeing here in the middle is the light control module, which didn't start until about 21 in SUVs and then 23 in trucks and up. So they separated all the light commands in the vehicle from the BCM, away from the BCM, and went to the light, a smaller control module next to the BCM, which is a 5-plug, controls all the lighting in the whole car. So we were able to tap in one connector, just T in one connector, and it goes to our module. And then you can use factory controls to turn it on and off, or you can use a external press button. So if I hold this here, as long as the ignition is on now, actually in these trucks, you can actually make this work with the truck off on the brand new Chevys, which by the way, we're working on that for Ford and other makes as well. But you can see we light up as much as we possibly can to flash to make it very.
What lights up? Like what exactly?
Yeah,
lights
we got
up?
DRLs, we got low beam, high beam, brakes, blinkers, reverse lights, tag lights. That's pretty much what we can get most of the time. Some of the stuff on super big trucks like heavy duty 3500 trucks, there's like extra lights over the wheel wells. We can get those most of the time. It really depends upon whether that light is attached to another light or it's on the CAN bus at all. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it's directly controlled from the switch. In that case, it would require a little more extra work, and you can use some of our outputs to power those if you want, or mimic a left or a right blinker.
So you do have outputs that go out as well?
Absolutely. We have 2 inputs, and I'll go over those in a minute, and 3 outputs. One of the outputs is hot all the time whenever we're up. The other 2 outputs are going to mimic left and right blinkers, so you could add those to extra lighting that is aftermarket, as long as it's not too heavy current. You really should be using relays anyway, of course, right? Our inputs, you can wire it to an upfitter switch, so you can turn. That's a third method of turning the system on. We also have a plow mode, which if you send voltage to before you activate our flasher system, it's going to slow down the pattern. It's not going to go as fast, and it's not going to light up the low beam or the high beam at all. The intention there is because when you attach a plow to a truck, there's a separate brain usually full of relays that controls the plow lights, and under our testing, we've realized that it's flashing too fast and it's overwhelming that relay box. So with plow mode, we kill the high and low again entirely on the truck and the plow, make it solid, not blinking, and then we slow down the pattern speed. So that's basically it. You can rotate through patterns. Our different products have a different amount of patterns. It usually ranges around 7 to 9 patterns just by pressing and releasing once, and it goes to a different pattern. You pick the one you like the best, or whatever, what have you. I also want to go over real quick priorities. We have some priority lighting to where if you put a blinker on, it's going to cut, the truck will go back to normal essentially, just while the blinker is happening. As soon as the blinker clears, it goes back to your flashing. Same goes for brake lights and reverse lights, so that's an important thing to mention. I don't know if any of our competitors have anything like that. This is something we implemented on purpose because safety is everything, and that's the whole point, right? So the system you're seeing here is late model GM. They're not all the same. This one, well, for the late model GM with the presence, if the light control module is equipped, so that's again 23 and up trucks, 21 and up SUVs, you're going to find this module. That's where we go. Every other install, pretty much except for RAM, we're at the BCM, the body control module, because that's where all the light data and the lights are controlled from. So we'll T-harness in at the BCM, the body control module. Outside of RAM. RAM is just an OBD module that you plug into the, actually, it's OBD, basically. I'll leave it at that. But we are working on the brand new RAMs. That's going to be, the brand new RAMs are a little more convoluted and complex. It's going to require new hardware that we don't have, that doesn't exist yet, because we got to grab 2 different places and grab 2 different buses, because for whatever reason, in RAM's and infinite wisdom, they've spread the light controls across different modules in the cars. So we're going to have to we're going to dive in that probably in next year here in 26, I think. But most of the answer mostly is that body control modules.
And to activate, it's all high beam lever.
We try to keep it consistent. We provide a push button or a wired trigger input, or the high beam lever. So if you're going to flash somebody, you hold the high beam lever on for about 5 seconds, and it fires on. You can even change patterns using the blinker. That's all explained.
What about the key fob?
Key fob activation is only available on the GMLC system, and the reason for that is because there's a separate module from the BCM that we're actually controlling. So that makes made that development a lot easier.
That's pretty convenient.
Oh yeah. When I can't find my car in the parking lot, that's
Yeah.
what I use. Lock, unlock, lock.
All you guys with GMLC that's the way, dude, is to do fob control. But we're going to bring that into other vehicles as well, again, in 2026, definitely.
I had somebody tell me, what about car enthusiasts?
Oh, huge.
I mean, that's a whole other market, and then coming back to how you could introduce, like you said, you got your construction, you got your law enforcement, security, but there's car enthusiast guys that would love to have this in their vehicle, right? And then they could flash all their lights. I think we went to that show in Vegas. The guy had was it a Charger? He was right next to us, and he's like, "Hey, look, I have your ZWAGZ in 300, Chrysler 300. He had it, and it was, and and he had it on the whole time. I'm like, so, I mean, you never know, right? I don't know how we go about getting into different vehicles like that, but you have those guys too. There's a whole market for that.
For off-road purposes only.
Right, there you go. You got to make sure safety.
Well, I mean, when you have the truck that's got huge lift on it, and it's on the big tires, it's got the rock lights and the wheel wells, and they're cruising by through the mall parking lot, because that's the only off-road they do. You throw in a ZWAGZ, now you have even more lights, and it draws more attention, and people are going to go, "Oh, look!"
Right.
So
yeah,
For sure.
that's cool.
And a little tech thing for all the newbies out there. If it doesn't work, it's because you don't have your ground connected, right, Brennan? That's always whenever I call, it's like, the car won't start. He said, "Is your ground hooked up?"
Yeah.
And that's always that's when I was slapping my guy beside the head and say, "Seriously, bro?
Yeah.
Forgot the ground?"
Ali, do you have any insight on maintenance and what you've seen? And as far as with ZWAGZ, have you seen anything come back and say, "Oh, this didn't work," or is it very just plug and play?
So far, it's been pretty plug and play. We've had no issues. Minor hiccups that Brennan's been able to solve over the phone. And that's always just been because newer trucks are changing, evolving. A 25 GMC Yukon looks exactly the same as a 26, but behind the scenes, slightly different. Yeah. So little tweaks like that, but the boys are always a phone call away to make magic happen. And that's always been really good. We've had vehicles go to the dealership over and over and over again. No issues, no voiding warranty. I think that's the biggest thing you guys push on, that we're not going through and altering anything for the vehicle.
Yeah.
For ZWAGZ, who's it for? Who is it? What's your, is it for fleet? Is it for, who do you guys usually deal with? And then tell us a little bit about that,
The fleet world, you're going to see that construction guy, the landscape, the roadside, the individuals that are driving a truck every day, using it for their personal use. Their kids are in the back seat. They don't want to have lights coming down from a headliner. They don't want to. A lot of HOAs don't allow for commercial vehicles. So now with that kind of world, you can have your normal truck unmarked, and is ready to go for service when you need it to with a push of a button. So I think that's really where it is. It's a different application. There's a guy that wants to go through and have a billion lights on his truck, and that guy's great. There's the guy that wants to have just a simple and utilize a very effective solution, and that's the difference right there.
Yeah. What do you think, Justin? What do you think our dealers could do if they're not even selling this ZWAGZ? How do you think they could get into also the market with ZWAGZ? Like, what is it that they need to do?
Ali brought up something important when we were talking earlier, and that's adapting to the changing business climate.
Right.
So you've got to look for those opportunities. Over the years, this industry, the 12-volt industry at large, has found several things to adapt to, whether it was the lighting during the Fast and Furious stuff and all the little bolt-on accessories for the shifter knobs and the brake pedals and little things like that would add on. Then it went, marine audio has been extremely popular in the past few years, and a lot of dealers were surviving on that. In the early days of backup cameras and people wanting those features where those were being added on an aftermarket level, we've always found these little ways to adapt and offset the changes from the traditional business of speakers, head units, amplifiers. Right. That's what dealers need to do is like I said before, look for those opportunities. We all have that customer, whether you think you do or not. We all have that customer that has something to do, whether it's law enforcement, security,
construction,
delivery, construction, landscaping, something to do with that. And those are the opportunities you got to look for. You got to understand who your customers are when they come in. And it just goes back to doing the simple, basic things. Back in my Circuit City days, it was when you have a customer in the store and they're looking for something, you walk out to their car with them because you learn something about them and you find other things to sell them. Right. And that's what ZWAGZ affords you as another opportunity to add on a sale that you maybe wouldn't have noticed or didn't get otherwise. Why would you let this customer walk out of your store and either order something online or go to a specific truck accessory place or something like that when you can provide this service for them? Yeah. So that's really, I think, one of the great things about what ZWAGZ does. And just in general, the ZZ2 offers is we're a solution-based company is the way I look at it. Yeah. So it's simple solutions for small problems. Yep. So the small problem with ZWAGZ being, or not problem with ZWAGZ, but the small problem with lighting these days is it's just too much work. The headlights are too expensive. All these variables that go into it. So now you've simplified a solution that you can make some profit on without having to do all this extra labor and worry about damaging something. And it takes you in another category, another profit center that you didn't have before.
Yeah. Ali, tell me a little bit where can people find you? Tell us a little bit where, like, is there a website or is there a phone number? Here's your chance, man.
Yeah. Hey, we're easy. We're easy. So we are within the state of Florida and Georgia. We have our locations, and we ship all over the country and international.
Oh, very nice.
So HG2 Emergency Lighting headquarters in Orlando. I get the fun location here in South Florida. Nice. So we get to enjoy that, get away from the cold. And then we also have Metro Atlanta. So we service a lot of law enforcement, fleet vehicles. We have 83 technicians within our staff. So we can handle anything from A to Z. And like I said, with strategic partners like ZZ2, we make sure we keep magic happening. We keep inventory on the shelves. That's the biggest thing. And you keep your employees and your customers happy.
There you go.
So we're a big family on that.
Is there a website?
Yes, it's going to be hg2lighting.com. And also we're on Instagram as well, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media outlets.
Have you been posting any stuff with tagging ZZ2 in it yet, or what?
Hey, we know we got to talk to my social media team on that. I'm still waiting on my commission check for this show, so let's see.
And then, Justin, where can people find ZWAGZ? Where do they go?
Go to www.zz2.com. And
there's no dash no more, man.
There's no dash. See, no. They keep upping this stuff. They keep changing
ZZ2.com. And actually, you could actually go to ZZ2.com/ZWAGZ, which is its own landing page. It tells you, the compatibility. It shows you videos. It's a great page to go to, just so you could just cut right to it, right? ZZ2.com/ZWAGZ. Well, I think that's it. That was awesome. And once again, man, thanks for coming
Absolutely.
by,
Thank you for having
taking
me.
time to come through, and Justin taking time off of work. You know, I'm glad you're comfortable.
Hey, all I know is I was promised lunch, and I don't know. You guys, I didn't even get my coffee yet. I didn't get lunch. I didn't get my Christmas bonus. What the heck
He's
is
gonna-
going on, guys?
We got a Christmas card downstairs.
Yeah.
Also, if you need any marketing material,
Yes.
ever, you let me know. You got my card.
Will do.
And look, the one of the things that I've talked to Tiago about too is like making sure you guys have everything that you need. And if you don't want it to be tagged with ZZ2, I mean, we could send you a video that you guys could use, or it doesn't have to always be ZZ2 everywhere. We have some marketing material on our marketing hub that you could grab, and if you needed to do any kind of social media post or anything like that, we're available for all that, because we want to help support you guys 100%. In getting the word out. So whatever you need for ZWAGZ, you let us know.
Will do. Absolutely. Like I said, we're
All right.
family. We love it.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Awesome,
bud.
man.
Good seeing you.
Good stuff. Justin. All right. Excellent.